Okay, so I want to get a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but it needs to be said. And it's my personal opinion, but still, it just, I noticed it after watching the episode and rewatching the scene again. The dancing that Studio Mappa has been doing in this series, for instance, this episode, it's honestly better than Welcome to the Ballroom. Now, don't get me wrong, Welcome to the Ballroom is really good. It has some really good dance scenes. It's got a really good episodes. It's a quality series. One of the best series from Summer of Anime. However, I have to admit that the dancing of this looked just so good. It looks so natural. I don't know, the way just the camera angle was, or the way the characters actually looked real compared to the long neck type creatures we see in Welcome to the Ballroom, I'm like, it looks really good. And so the dancing in this episode of Shingeki no Bahamut was really enjoyable. And I mean, if there's one good thing that Welcome to the Ballroom has done for me, it's allowed me to understand dancing a little bit more, what goes into dancing and how hard it could be for many. And seeing how Nina and the king were dancing side by side, they were working together, dancing and all that, I'm like, this is really beautiful. And the way the background was done, with the way the characters were rotating and all that, how the room was moving, and how they were just doing their moves and working together with chemistry, it was a really wonderful scene. And Studio Mappa blew it out of the park when it came to this episode. They did a fantastic job with the art and animation for that dance scene. I am not disappointed whatsoever. But anyways, though, besides that, we have a lot of romance build-up and a lot of good interactions between Nina and the king. And depending on your viewpoint on the king and Nina, for instance, if you like their romance, you're gonna love this episode. And if you don't like their relationship or whatever, you're gonna fucking hate this episode, which most likely you're gonna hate majority of the series or season 2 of Shingeki no Bahamut, because that's mainly been the focus for a while now. Well, anyways, though, getting on topic, Nina walks into the ballroom, and she requests a dance from the king. She doesn't just sit there and kneel and ask, like, please dance to me like all the other girls. She walks up and just, like, dance. That was freaking cool. That was ballsy as hell for Nina to do that, because, I mean, you have all of these high-up nobles and all that. They're just sitting there watching. You have all of these, like, you know, famous or fabulous women just sitting there, sitting down, kneeling, wanting to get a dance with the king, and he's never really danced before, and Nina just walks up, not giving a shit, and is like, dance to me, and he walks down and starts dancing. You gotta imagine how all of the women must have felt when they saw Nina do that. They're probably really salty, really pissed off, but when you see how the dancing was done, and how Nina was just showcasing that she has a lot of courage, I truly respect that. She is definitely developed in a very good way since the beginning of this series. You can see she's very strong as a character. Maybe not in some areas, like in terms of maybe how to handle guys or whatever, but when it comes to certain things, she definitely shows courage. She definitely shows that she has a strong will, and it definitely stands out when it comes to her character. It's one of the main reasons why Season 2 has been so successful, even without Favreau or Kaiser, because they were great characters, and, you know, Kaiser and Favreau, they carried the first season because of just how lively their personalities were. And as I've discussed in the past, Nina is a perfect character to fill that spot. It's very hard, but she managed to do it, and she has constantly done this time and time again, and that's another perfect example. This episode is a perfect example of that. So let's talk about the scene with Nina and the king's like, I don't want you ever to meet me again. So it's obvious from that scene that the king doesn't want Nina to ever talk with him, meet him, or dance with him again, because he's trying to protect her. We know he has feelings for Nina. We know he cares for Nina. He has made this very obvious throughout the series. He definitely loves her. He's grown attached to her. However, this attachment is causing him to waver. He no longer is completely dedicated to his in-game goal. And I feel like what he's trying to imply here, or what the writers are trying to imply with the king's character, is that since the very beginning, when he's set on this journey to do whatever he wants to do, what he's trying to accomplish, he didn't expect to make it out alive. You can see by the state of his arm, when he shows the bracelet and his arm is all veiny and stuff, and you can see it looks like his arm is dying, it seems like he is dying, or his body is going to rot away or something because of whatever the bracelet and what he's trying to accomplish. And because of that, I feel like when Nina popping up, it's giving him a reason to live, and he's having doubts in all that, because if he was to, you know, not die, he wouldn't be able to accomplish what he wants to do, but that would mean he would get to be with Nina. And so Nina is like someone that's making him not want to die and continue on living and not sacrifice it all for whatever he's trying to accomplish, which makes it very sad. So I feel like that is what the king is trying to do. He's trying to spare Nina from a tragedy or from sadness of her losing him. For instance, he's going to sacrifice himself, or maybe he's set onto the path of death regardless. No matter what happens, he is going to die because of the way the bracelet, it looks like it's just destroying his body. So he might already be dead. Like, it's probably already set in stone that he's going to die, and there's nothing he can do. And with Nina being there, it's kind of making him feel upset because he could have went down a different path, but no longer can he. He can't change that, and Nina's making a waiver to where he just doesn't want to do anything at all, and so everything would be all for nothing. Even sacrificing his life would be for nothing because he wouldn't be able to accomplish jack shit. So I feel like that is why the king was trying to protect her, or he didn't want her to get attacked thanks to the guards, you know, the Onyx guards and all that to attack her, because we do know that they've been planning stuff behind the scenes. That could be another thing to what he's doing. He's trying to protect her from that. Regardless, though, it's obvious that the king definitely cares about her. He just doesn't want her to get hurt at all, and Nina doesn't seem to really be aware of that. She was very upset because, you know, he rejected her, but it wasn't because he didn't love her, which she'll probably eventually find out in due time. Anyways, on another note, let's talk about Rita. So Rita, she has a quick little moment in this episode, but I found it very enjoyable the way it was handled. When everybody's discussing the plan, or Rita was discussing the plan, what everybody's role was or what they needed to do, Favreau's like, why do I need to do this? Like, why do I have to go and all that? And Rita was explaining, like, why everybody couldn't go because of God or, you know, demon, whatever. And eventually, when it came down to the more details, he's like, but what's going to happen? I mean, I'm going to get captured and all that. And then Rita's like, oh, don't worry, we'll break you out of prison again. And then Favreau's like, it just shows he's like, I'm used to it. He's like, I'm fucking just used to this. I'm just used to everyone fucking me over and basically having to break me out of prison or whatever. He's like, I'm just used to it. So that was a funny moment. I had a good laugh from that part of the episode. Also, Bacchus, you know, spitting out his wine and stuff. That made me chuckle a bit. So, yeah, that's about it. I mean, the episode is very simple. It's a great episode, though. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love y'all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.